take your fears, your insecurities, your worries, you roll them all up into a ball, you turn those son bitches sideways and stick them straight up, then candy out!
Pick your goal and stick fucking to it. You wishy-washy motherfuckers. I can't fucking stand you.
I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. Those hours were too precious. And so there I just want to tell people, don't give me this thing, I have a difficult time with the time and I don't have time for this and I don't have that. You have time. You make the time.
And now, welcome to the Be Informed, Live Fit podcast, sponsored by FitnessInformant.com.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside the Be Informed, Live Fit podcast. I am your host, Fitness Informant, founder, and CEO, Ryan Buckeye. Welcome inside the third edition of Mark Glazier, CEO of NutraBio, here on the Be Informed, Live Fit podcast. The last of my in-person interviews as I made my FI appreciation tour over to New Jersey and New York several weeks ago. Sat down with Mark at the NutraBio facility, which, by the way, is a state-of-the-art facility. It's immaculate. It's fucking phenomenal. And when I was there, they didn't have the manufacturing equipment up and running yet, but I'm actually heading back there on Friday to check it all out. So Mark's having me come back to town. Myself and Gerhardt, who is the senior VP of content for Fitness Informant, are heading out to New Jersey on Friday to check out the new digs over at NutraBio with their entire manufacturing facility. It's just absolutely immaculate. It is unbelievable to see that side of the business. A lot of us see the front end of the business, the consumer-facing side, right? We see the marketing, we see the labels, we get to use the product in terms of product experience, but to actually see how that product comes to fruition and what it has to go through is remarkable. And we had an opportunity to sit down with Mark. I had an opportunity to sit down with Mark after I was there, and I went through the facility before all the equipment was set up, and it's a pharmaceutical grade facility. It's absolutely phenomenal. And we talked about that. We talked about the FDA coming in and auditing them for a 3-week audit. An exhaustive audit from the government came in, not one bad note from the FDA, but they elected to spend thousands, hundreds of thousands. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the total cost was, but it was like $100,000. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars, I believe. It was really, really expensive to upgrade their facility to be basically a pharmaceutical grade facility. So they're setting out for the next, 15, 20 years. Not by any request, not by any requirement, but the desire of their heart to become the best and make sure that they stay on top in terms of branded supplements here within the sports nutrition industry. So we talked to Mark about that. We talked to Mark about future innovations with NutraBio. We talked to him about 2019 and how NutraBio, obviously here wearing their shirt, NutraBio kicked ass in 2019 and being a brand in the conversation for the 2019 Brand of the Year award. So that's the conversation you get to see here today and listen if you're watching or listening via iTunes or Spotify. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, to stay up to date with all the new podcasts here, the Be Informed Live Fit podcasts, as we have so many of them that are still coming out. We have a bunch more that you guys have been just absolutely so supportive, and I thank you. If you have an opportunity, write a review. It helps out the algorithm so more people can discover the Be Informed, Live Fit podcast. So I'm stoked about this episode. We talk about a lot of new stuff that Mark and I have not talked about in the past. If you remember, and you've been following this podcast religiously, Mark Glazier was one of our first guests back in May, or maybe it was June of last year. So when we first kicked this podcast off, then we have Mark come back on with Mark Lobleiner, and then this is Mark by himself again. So he's the first time, basically, 3-time guest here on the show. But it just shows the respect and admiration I have for Mark as not only a CEO of a supplement company, but as a human being. And Mark is he's very intelligent, he's very passionate, and it comes through in the conversation. So I'm excited about putting this out there for you guys and girls to listen to Mark Glazier, a guy that absolutely cares about you as a consumer, that absolutely cares about what you're putting into your body. And when we get some content from the behind-the-scenes stuff at this new manufacturing facility when I'm out there here in a week, you guys you're gonna have a whole new perspective on NutraBio and in terms of what they stand for and what they represent. And it's absolutely amazing. This week's Pumped Up segment of the week is being brought to you by Built Fast Formula's award-winning VasoBlitz Pump Igniter. Not only is VasoBlitz the winner of our 2018 Shield of Excellence Supplement Award for the best pump product, it is also the first nitrate formula fully disclosed with 30 servings, not scoops. When VasoBlitz is consumed daily, even on your off days, it will last you a full month. All this for only $34.99. And as a special offer to our listening audience, use the coupon code INFORMANT and save 15% off on VasoBlitz. I am pumped up about a lot this week, and I alluded to my upcoming New York City trip again, but I'm pumped up about something else. Your boy, if you listen to our Iron Jungle podcast, which is another podcast that I do with the Vanilla Gorilla Drew Peters, I already made this announcement, and I'm making the announcement here on the Be Informed Live Fit podcast, and this is the official announcement, and I'll actually be making the announcement more in our IG stories, is we are, and by we, I mean I have elected to finally throw my hat in the ring for competitive bodybuilding. I've been told for a long time from people, like, obviously I have the shape, I have the physique. I get asked all the time, like, do you compete? And the answer was always no. I never competed. And why didn't I want to compete? Well, for a while there, I didn't have a ton of desire to compete because I guess I've had some issues with the fact, like, you work your ass off for 12, 16, 20 weeks in terms of prep, whatever your prep time is, and you step on stage and there's individuals below you who are judging you subjectively based on your look. Not, they don't give a shit about your hard work. And for me, for a while, I was like, well, I'm not sure if I agree with that. But I'm also a very competitive ass person, and I want to be the best in the world at everything that I do. And I know how hard I work. I know the dedication I have. I know the desire I have. I know how fucking competitive I am and how I want to be the best and how I want to win. So in the spring of 2020, I will be competing in light heavyweight open bodybuilding at a show here regionally in the Midwest. The goal for me and my team consists of amazing people. Coach Adam Bisick will be my coach. He's been on the podcast here before, and you may have heard me talk to him about before, but Coach Adam Bisick, and my posing coach is Mike Gritty. If you guys want to Google Mike Gritty, you're going to see big fucking arms. I'll tell you that much. He'll be my posing coach, and we're going to put together a plan and start prep here basically any day now to do a show in the spring. Basically, April, May timeframe will be my qualifying show. The goal is to finish top 3, and by top 3, I mean the goal is to win the whole fucking thing, and then Junior Nationals in Chicago in June would be the ideal goal. All the while we're doing this, we are going to be filming the entire process, and I'm filming this process because I want to document, not just for me, but for everybody out there who's ever thought about doing a competitive bodybuilding show, whether it's classic physique, whether it's whether it's bodybuilding or just men's physique, whatever it might be, or even women, right? Because the prep is a little bit different maybe for a man and a woman, but just to kind of give you a glimpse on like what it takes to be a competitor, what you have to go through, how much money you have to spend because the shit's not cheap, and how to make it work. So the idea is it's going to be a 6 to 8 part documentary series on YouTube. So basically we call it a docu-series, which each episode being like 12 to 15 minutes long, kind of walking through and tracing my steps to my first time on stage because I've never competed before. I've always just kind of looked the part. And as of today, this recording, I am 212.4 pounds at 5'7.5" at about 10.4% body fat. So where I need to get in terms of light heavyweight is I need to be between basically, I think it's 176 and 190, something like that. I looked it up earlier today. If possible, we could compete in dual class. We can do classic physique and bodybuilding. It just depends on where my coach feels that I'm going to be. But for those of you out there listening or watching, here's the fact of the matter is, like, I'm a hardworking guy. I want to win. I want to be the best. And here's an opportunity for me to test out my will and test out my mental strength, test out my physical strength, and see, do I have what it takes to do competitive bodybuilding? So if anybody ever in the past has said to me, like, you can't speak on bodybuilding competitions because you've never done it, we'll put that conversation to rest here real quick because I'm doing it, and it's going to be all out there for you to see on our YouTube channel via Fitness Informant TV at YouTube. So that is what I'm pumped up about. I met with Coach Adam here earlier today, and it's going to be a really cool project that I'm super stoked about. Our Genius Moment of the Week is being brought to you by the Genius Brand. The Genius Brand offers high-quality supplements with scientifically proven, clinically dosed all-natural ingredients. With a blatant disregard for profit margins, the Genius Brand focuses on creating innovative, industry-leading wellness supplements to help you live an active, healthy, and long-lasting life. Supplement smarter today. Check out full reviews and brand news of the Genius Brand over at fitnessinformant.com. This week's Genius Moment of the Week. Man, there's so many of them. There's so many of them that we could talk about, but I want to talk about like basically nutrient timing in sports nutrition and supplements. And specifically, we get this question all the time. When should I take my creatine? Guys, I think we need to stop overcomplicating this shit. Sometimes the labels say take with a meal twice a day. Like, listen, as long as you're getting the ingredients in your system, you're getting the benefit of that ingredient. In terms of creatine, you can take it pre-workout, you can take it post-workout. You can take it 2 hours after your workout. As long as you're taking basically 5 grams of creatine monohydrate a day, let's just use creatine monohydrate as a staple here in this conversation, you are getting the saturation point of creatine monohydrate that will give you the benefits of strength and power output. It'll give you the benefits of maybe a fuller pump. It'll give you the benefits of muscular recovery. Creatine is meant to be taken daily. Don't overcomplicate the shit. That's the genius moment of the week, is we are just overcomplicating every fucking thing that we do in fitness to the point it's driving me insane having to answer the same questions over and over again. So let's simplify this. Let's kiss this. Let's keep it simple, stupid. All right. Eat nutritious foods, lean proteins, take your supplements if you need to, and don't worry about the fucking timing. Now, obviously, a pre-workout, you take pre-workout. That's why it's called a fucking pre-workout. But things like glutamine, creatine, fish oil, multivitamin, like there's no fucking perfect time to take this stuff. Just take it. That's the biggest thing. And you know, you're not going to achieve a benefit by taking creatine post-workout versus pre-workout. You're not going to put on an extra 5 pounds of muscle if you do that. So don't fucking worry about it. Just take it, make sure you hit that saturation point and take it fucking daily like you're supposed to. And let's go. It's as simple as that. So that is basically the genius moment of the week here, is just stop overcomplicating shit, guys. Like, enjoy life, relax, you know, chill the fuck out, relax. It's gonna be okay. All right, everybody. Mark Glazier, CEO of NutraBio. I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to toss it over to the man himself. Y'all enjoy this episode featuring the OG of sports nutrition. I think this is true, is the first brand to do away with proprietary blends and come out with full disclosure.
The BAR, Breakfast at the Ready, is finally here. The world's first protein bar made with real cereal pieces from some of your favorite cereals and the best cereals of all time. This bar has 20 grams of protein, only 20 grams of carbohydrates, with 5 of them coming from sugar, and 4 grams of fat, 190 delicious calories that you can fit in at any time. Any person can take this bar, man, woman, child, whether you're working out, you're training to build muscle, or you just need a healthy snack throughout the day. The BAR is your solution. Go to redcon1.com and order the BAR Breakfast at the Ready right now.
With the amount of hard work that I put in, I need a reputable brand.
I absolutely love this stuff.
The energy is amazing. The pumps are ridiculous. The flavor is absolutely delicious.
I was blown away by the amount of energy, the muscle pump.
It keeps me going throughout the day.
Take your workouts to the next level.
The energy was so crazy for me.
Really gives me the boost I'm needing in the morning.
You will train harder. You will see better pumps. You will go longer in the gym.
The quality of the ingredients makes a difference.
Try Rise. You're going to love it. I guarantee it.
Their products are top of the range, and I'm very proud to be a part of Team Rice.
For the last 2 decades, we have been the best kept secret of the supplement industry. We've kept our heads down and worked. We pioneered full label transparency and full therapeutic doses because we believe that truly hard work requires truly effective tools. 2 decades is a long time to commit to one pursuit, but when you act with purpose and become centered in yourself, eventually you realize that you were born and bred for this. The things you once thought impossible, you now do every day. We don't like the easy way, it just doesn't feel right. We'll take the long, hard road over a shortcut any day. It takes longer, sure, but in the end, you know you earned it. And with the right team behind you, pushing yourself further than you've ever been will be just another afternoon doing what you love most.
Middlesex, New Jersey. Is that right?
That's right.
Middlesex. Emphasis on sex. That's why you brought the company to Middlesex, New Jersey from Long Island.
Yeah, and then we launched 20 Goat Weed right after that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. What's up, everybody? Welcome inside the Be Informed Live Fit podcast. 3rd appearance for this guy. He's a goddamn legend. What's up, buddy? Mark Glazier, CEO of NutraBio, one of my favorite brands on the entire planet. Before I even started Fitness Informant, this was my go-to brand, my personal go-to brand, which we've talked about on our platform before. Obviously, the video in which you were called out by a competitor within the industry, Jim Sapani, and your rebuttal to his kind of put NutraBio on the map. We've kind of talked about it before. I want to talk a little bit about, like, was there any hesitation on your part to release that video in your defense? Because you guys had not done YouTube. You really hadn't put yourself out there prior to this, and that kind of was the spark that ignited this massive flame of NutraBio and people understanding who you were and what you represented as a brand.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even put that out at first. I didn't care. You know, people talk shit about people all the time, so I'm not really responsive to that. Otherwise, I'll spend all my time arguing. And what happened was, you know, he did put our product down. A couple months went by, and a bunch of people actually went online and did videos defending us, so I just let it go. But then he did another video that just disgusted me, that really attacked the industry as a whole. So I had respect for him at one time, because what he was teaching people about proprietary blends and teaching people, you know, the good part about the industry, what makes a product good. But then he was on this video started telling everybody that, I think he basically said that any company out there that doesn't have the type of disclosure he has in his protein is faking it because they're protein spiking. And he was pointing to some serious brands that I thought were great and were really going out on a limb to disclose their products. So I thought it was just counterproductive to the industry when we're trying to get people to understand what a good product is, and then you just turn that into marketing and attack other companies. They weren't even mine at that point, so he wasn't even attacking me as much as he was other people. I just thought that was not the right thing to do. So when I came up with that response, is because I saw it as a turn on the industry, confusion to the consumer to understand what is right and what is wrong.
Right. And I remember earlier this summer we kind of like celebrated the 5-year anniversary of the video, 3-year. I can't remember what it was now. Like time. Well, anyway. But you were kind of stunned about the number of views that were on the video. This thing obviously went viral. So many people saw it, and that's how I discovered the brand, from that video alone. And now, since that point, you've kind of become sort of this speaker of the industry, the guy who is out there cheerleading, doing the right thing all the time. You go to Congress, you are teaching others, educating others on ingredients from your manufacturing process here. Do you feel that you have like a sense of responsibility to this industry, that you're kind of sort of that, you're not the scapegoat for it, but like you're the professor of dietary supplements, it seems like, at this point, in which people turn to Mark Glazier for your opinion on all topics?
Yeah, you know, we were the first to go no prop blend and full label disclosure, and that's not the important thing. There's so many companies that have done it since, and that's just great, because they're all changing industry. We're all part of this same thing where we're trying to get the consumer to understand the industry. So I'm proud of the fact that NutraBio had something to do with it. So sometimes I say we're first, I don't mean that's better than anybody else. I'm kind of proud that, you know, in the beginning we were made fun of for doing all this stuff. I mean, everybody attacked us for years and years, calling us ridiculous, calling us stupid. You can't disclose this stuff. You'll go out of business. Everybody will copy. So it was a fight for many, many years. Other people attacking us whenever I wrote about protein spiking, or whenever I wrote about full disclosure or prop blends. It was just a viral attack on me, saying, oh, you're just doing this to build your brand. But it never was. You know, it was always, you know, all this stuff is not our marketing pitch. It's just, you know, the ethics that we believe that the consumer deserves. You know, people are training hard, they're trying to change their lives, they're out in the gym, and if I'm going to give them something with my name on it, it's got to be the absolute best that I possibly can. There's no place that I can cut corners in any way, shape, or form, because I know my customer is not. They're expecting me to do something great. So yeah, I think it's kind of cool that we were able to help an industry, and so many people are just doing it right now, and the industry to me is completely changing. I mean, it's still, you know, 70% hasn't gone that way, but the guys are all doing it right now. And people don't realize it's not easy. You can't just slap a label on a product, say, okay, we're disclosing this, we're getting rid of prop blends, because then you got to put real ingredients in there and put real dosages, and your product goes up double, triple in price. And now you got to contend with marketing against all these other guys who are paying $4 to make a pre-workout and are having buy one, buy two, buy three, get one, all these crazy sales, and they have no cost in the product. So all these guys that are doing it right now, it's not as easy as people think. It's not just slapping a label and say, oh, we're doing it now too. It's like, holy crap, for us to do this, our cost is going up tremendously. For us to manufacture this product, for us to use real ingredients, for us to put a full therapeutic dosage in, changes everything. Changes the dynamic of of everything you do. Your margins change, your business changes, everything changes.
In terms of full disclosure and non-proprietary blends, that at one point was a marketing advantage. It was a competitive advantage on a marketing aspect. Like, hey, we're not afraid to tell you what's in our product. You guys were first to market. That was never a marketing ploy by you. It's what you wanted to do. It was the right thing to do. So you guys sort of have like that, we are first to market to do it, but now it's essentially expected from the consumer, from the educated consumer. Right. So it's no longer a competitive advantage for new companies coming out there. Like, do you think it's a competitive advantage for NutraBio?
No, it wasn't a competitive advantage for the first 8 or 9 years because people didn't understand it.
Sure.
Our own consumer didn't understand it because when we dumped that $250,000 worth of prop blend products, and then we had to go back to a consumer and put a new product on the table and say, hey, this is non-prop blend, and well, why are you doing that? Well, our other products sucked. It was fake. We didn't know about. I mean, how do you explain that to the consumer that was following all those years? So those first couple of years that we did that, our own consumer just didn't get it. Luckily, they stuck with us. They believed in us because they always did, and they kind of understood that we were making a change for the better.
Sure.
So, but then the next 7 or 8 years, it just nobody cared. Nobody understood it. It's just been the last few years that the industry, the last 5 or 6 years, that the consumer is starting to get educated more. Not educated, but caring.
Yeah.
You know, consumers really starting to care what they're putting in their body. And now they're looking at brands a little different than they did 10 years ago. I mean, the younger kids aren't yet, the 18, 20, but starting at 27, 28, we see people asking a million questions. What's in your product? What's the dosage? Going back and forth to understand things. And I just think that's great.
A mutual buddy of ours, Chris Gethin, was on a recent podcast of ours in which he talked about, we talked about how proprietary blends are kind of like making a comeback in the terms of like the stimulant blends and even overall prop blends, because the proponents, those who are cheerleaders for prop blends say, and I hate this, but they say it's like it brings back the mystery of a pre-workout, which I think is just ridiculous. But Chris thinks that companies are doing the prop blends because the marketing has changed now to exactly what your point, the younger, the 18, the 20-year-olds who's not caring necessarily about what they're putting in their body. Do you agree with that?
I think partially I agree with that. I mean, that generation doesn't really care. I mean, they care more about and I shouldn't say this about, I mean, we have loads of customers in that range that really, really do. But I think a lot of brands are just going to be cool. I mean, that's the whole marketing thing. How do you make your product really, really cool? And people go to it. And there is a big sector of the market that is just going to go to a product to be cool, just like people buy beer or drink alcohol or smoke a cigarette or something to be part of that crowd that they're marketing out there. That's just never been us.
Yeah.
But I really think the big reason that these prop blends are coming back is because people see the cost behind it. So they're fighting it. So it was doing great for a few years. Now in the last year and a half, we're getting a lot of kickback from it. A lot of brands are arguing. A lot of brands are saying, no, we're doing that to hide our formulation. It's our IP. It's our intellectual property. And it's just not true. You can't hide that. If you're putting the ingredient on the label, then I can test your product. I'll know your formula in a week. I just think that when you're doing a pre-workout that costs 3 times more than somebody else, and these other guys get in and say, okay, we're doing it now too, and they reformulate or go to reformulate and say, holy shit, our product's no longer $4. It's costing me $12 to make. Then they all of a sudden they're preaching, prop blends are bad, prop blends are,
Right.
I think that's the real, you got to give Chris Gethin all the credit in the world, man. He had a huge following. He came out with a product line. He put his heart and soul into that product line. So I just think his brand is phenomenal. I think what he's done is phenomenal. Phenomenal spokesperson for this industry. Yeah. Really, really good.
He's very big on no artificial colors and no artificial flavors. Where do you stand on that topic?
We've never used artificial colors. Actually, we never used colors for years. I was never a big proponent of whether it had artificial flavors or not.
Sure.
So. We're now switching. We have a separate line out without artificial flavors in it. So,
do you think consumers are going to care more? It feels like
it's changing.
In the UK movement, it kind of comes this way. It seems like some consumers, lately on our platform, we've had more people talk about like the dyes. But I think also people are confused because if something comes out red, it could be because beetroot powder was used, and they assume it was like an artificial flavor when it's not true. So, I mean, is that like do you see that as being a competitive advantage for like your natural line, for instance, right? Like your natural line is great. Does that sell well for you guys? Are still a lot of people using it? Or
it sells great, but the market is still 90% or so not caring about that. But it's changing.
Right.
It's changing over from where it was years ago, where nobody cared, to more of a natural line.
Sure.
But there's a lot of issues with natural. Look at the products. Nobody says natural in their products. All these plaintiffs' attorneys are suing every company because there's no real definition of natural out there by government or FDA standards. So that's causing a lot of problems out there. But yeah, we've made the switch to artificial. And people are always confused with us because we're like this pharmaceutical brand that has, every ingredient listed. We're manufacturing to GMP. We have no fillers, no excipients, nothing added to that product, just a pure active ingredient at all. But then we had artificial flavors.
Right.
It's confusing when we started to go to like Expo West and those shows like that. But that's what we've always been about. We've always been about the purity of the product, the potency of the product, making that product the best it is. And now we're doing a little bit of a change over to a more natural product line.
We talked about like the stimulant blends coming back, and just the term of stimulation in general in this country is kind of crazy at this point. I think your highest caffeinated product in your line is 335 milligrams, maybe in pre-extreme.
350.
350. We're seeing 400. We're seeing 450. We're seeing 722. Like I mean, it's getting super high on just caffeine alone. Do you foresee government regulation stepping in on caffeine and stimulants at some point if we keep pressing the envelope and going higher and higher on these things?
I mean, if you keep going up to 700 and go higher than that, something's going to happen. And they jumped in on caffeine just a few years ago to bulk. We used to sell a little bottle of pure powder, and they came out on it. We pulled it right from the market, and we realized, that is dangerous. Somebody, to scoop out 100 milligrams, it's easy to get 400 milligrams. And a lot of people are defending. And I see a lot of the people arguing on your webpage are defending these high dosages by saying, well, you have 4 or 5 cups of coffee, you're doing that anyway. But you're not. You're doing that over 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
You take a stimulant that has 5, 6, 700 milligrams plus 5 other stimulants in there. You're taking it in 30 seconds.
Right.
You're just drinking it, and then you're putting that all into your body at onse. And I see that as a danger. Even our 350, we won't do 350 of pure caffeine anhydrous, too hard hitting. So we're using dicaffeine malate, which is slower. So you're not getting that all at that one shot. So we're even lowering it that way. I'm not into overstimulation. I think that's why prop blends are still used on a lot of these stimulants, because nobody wants to say how much DMAA is in the product, and there's still a lot of companies that are loading DMAA out there with a shitload of caffeine and then throwing everything else in there too. It's just, that to me, it's crazy. Plus, there's a certain point where you don't want to rely on a stimulant to work out. I have a stim and I have a non-stim. Certain days I take my stim. Certain days I'll take the same pre-workout with no stimulation in it because I don't want to rely on it. So when I'm doing a heavy day like legs or something, then I might want it. But I'll also do that same day without a stimulant. If I haven't had a rough night or something, then I'm nailing it, obviously. But I don't want my body to. I want my mind, my focus, my determination, my perseverance. I want that pushing my workout, not artificial stimulation. So that caffeine should just give you that edge. It shouldn't be what's the focus of your training. When you load up with DMAA and caffeine and the old AMP citrate and stuff like that, everything else is gone. You don't need any determination. Your body's just an overload from stimulants.
We had this conversation online too about at what point is there like a point of diminishing returns with caffeine in terms of like vasoconstriction, right? Like, so I've been educating to our audience, like if you keep stimming up, what you're doing is you're constricting blood flow, which is the whole purpose of working out in the first place, is to get the blood to flow into the muscle, bring in nutrient-rich blood to help repair, recover, and essentially grow muscle. So I mean, do we know what that point is, or in terms of
I don't think so.
And
there are studies that show that those higher dosages are not dangerous, but the issue is those studies aren't usually done on people sweating their ass on the gym, raising their cardio rate, and also you're just doing a squat. I mean, you're not thinking it's cardio, but all that blood that's rushing through the body when you're putting 100% effort into that push. And you're over caffeinated there, nobody knows what's going to happen with that.
You're right on that.
I'm just against these heavy stims.
What's funny too, even some of the studies that I've looked into on caffeine alone, the companies will say, well, it's safe. The study says it's safe. Well, they use caffeine citrate, which yields 50% caffeine, versus where they're using caffeine anhydrous, which is 100% caffeine, which is a completely different ballgame. You mentioned like dicaffeine malate being like a 74% caffeine roughly is what it yields, right? You use that in pre and pre-extreme?
Yeah, but we're still at 350 total caffeine.
Total caffeine, right. You're yielding total caffeine in that. There are new stims coming out, like there's Dynamine, there's Teacrine, there's all these, there's sustained release caffeine now, or SR caffeine coming out. How closely are you guys as a company looking at some of these new innovative stimulants?
Oh, we're always watching them. We're playing with Dynamine now. We have Bruce and Eller promising some cool stuff coming up. We have to see if it's DeShea or not, if it's safe or not. But we're also going to look at new stims coming out. But just like an AMP citrate came out, I mean, we're one of the first companies to get it over from China, and they're shipping it to us. I won't put it in my product. I don't know what it is. I don't know how safe.
Nobody knows what it is.
Yeah. So I'm not going to grab these stems and just throw them on my product so that everybody can start talking about it. My consumer has a promise of safety, of efficacy.
Right.
So I'm not always the first to market with all these new ingredients that come out. We're not known for, oh shit, this came out, NutraBio's got it. We're sometimes the last person to the market with it because of that efficacy issue. I mean, we talked about agmatine sulfate. We were probably the last company in the world to use it, and I happen to like it because we couldn't find any ingredient in the industry that was over 68% pure, and it should have been pure. Nobody knew what the difference was. So when it was big and it was making waves out there, we didn't have it for a year or so after. So I can't always say we're first to market with stuff, but when we do come to market with stuff, we believe in it. We've looked at the research, and we know that when we give it to our customer that they're going to trust it.
You guys are a premium brand. Yeah, your pricing is actually very fair in terms of like the competitive set. But one thing that you don't have is sort of like an economic formula of a pre-workout, which it seems like many companies now that are premium based are looking at that market saying there's space for us to make some money there. Which when we say economic, I mean you don't have to water down the product, but you can take things out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything is that something NutraBio would ever consider doing?
Yeah, I mean I'm not gonna take my pre-workout and lower the dosages so that you get a 5-gram scoop,
right? And
everything is underdosed. But let's look at creatine monohydrate. It does not have to be in your pre-workout.
Right.
So when I make my pre, I'm considering everything that I want in there, so the consumer doesn't have to grab. I mean, I don't put post-workout stuff in there, but I put things like beta-alanine doesn't have to be in your pre-workout either.
No, it's a daily thing.
Yeah, it's a daily thing. So I could take out beta-alanine. I could take out creatine, and my price will drop, and the customer's going to take it separately later on.
Right.
And that's ethical to me to do so. They just, if they want it, they buy it. I could take the pump aspect out of there and just have a pre-workout that's focus, concentration, a little bit of just that end of it, and say, okay, here's a pump price. So, you can break it apart and be efficacious at the same time. It's just that we did what I would call an all-in-one.
Right.
And that's what like Caged is, and a lot of these products that have 24, 25 grams in them, they're more all-in-ones. They're not just the pre-workout, but they're putting beta-alanine and everything else in there. That's the only way I would ever do it, and we're coming out with a pre-workout and a pre and a pump that are separate.
Okay.
Okay. But both of those will be completely efficacious on their own. That pre will be a pre. That pump product will be pure pump. We're not going to be selling that as your pre-portion of it. It's just to get blood flowing, get nitric oxide effect.
The reason I bring it up is consumers, when they look at your product, not that consumers really typically follow us, but there are many consumers that always argue or complain that the scoop size is too damn big.
Right.
It's like, wait a second, like there's a reason why it's that big. But they go back to the old days of Jacked where they're doing microdosing, and I think you're getting like 3.2 grams a serving. So there are the consumers that just don't want to take a big scoop. So can you appeal to those consumers that want maybe
you can buy
11-gram serving?
Yeah, but don't forget what all those formulas were back then. They were just stimulants.
Yeah.
There was nothing in it. If there was citrulline in there, it was 500 milligrams worth.
Right.
Everything was underdosed. It was a small formula, but everybody believed it worked because the stimulant portion of it was high. And that's what a lot of people think in the gym. You hear people talk about pre's in the gym. What are they talking about?
Man,
I'm wired out. It's like they're on crack or something. And that's what goes around. Yeah, I took this. This was great. I felt great. I worked out hard. But they're looking at all the other ingredients in there that they're expecting to get something from, but they're all underdosed. So that's what the majority of these products have been in the last 5-10 years. It's been completely underdosed products, completely over-stimmed products, and the stim has carried the product.
They still exist.
And that's unfortunate.
And they still sell a ton.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about this earlier off camera, but you walk into a GNC, there is a certain brand that sells a ton. Recently, on a group that we follow on like Facebook, they posted the test results of what is considered the #1 selling pre-workout on the market, I think in brick and mortar. It's a very small dose. It doesn't even meet, it doesn't even equate to what the label claims. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. We could talk about it later.
Well, actually, I think I saw the article.
Yeah, so like, and
I was kind of naive because I couldn't figure out what you guys were all talking about.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I remember that.
So there's this certain pre-workout that sells a lot. People buy it, and according to this test results that came, that's publicly shared online, that's not even close to what's in the product. I mean, there are ingredients listed on the test results that aren't even listed on the label. So like that company doing the amount of sales that they do, I mean, should they be worried that this thing's floating out there, that they might get called out on it, that something could actually potentially happen?
Oh yeah. The problem, I think, is that the FDA doesn't have the manpower to go after any of this, so they're not going to. The only protection the consumer has are plaintiffs' attorneys that might hear about some of this stuff and just start suing to make their own money, and that doesn't do much because they settle behind the scenes and they continue to go on doing it. The FDA just doesn't have the manpower to keep chasing these companies that pop up out of nowhere.
What's going on with the FDA, by the way? Because first off, was it Scott Gottlieb, or what was his name?
Gottlieb.
Gottlieb, right? He was there, he left,
Right.
but the FDA was more active in 2019 than they had been in like the previous 5 years combined. It seemed like within dietary supplements, they put several ingredients that I believe are safe. I think that you've actually used several of these ingredients before too that are on the dietary advisory supplement list now. So they're doing stuff. I don't know who's doing it, but they had plans to potentially maybe be more hands-on within the space, and then he left. Do we know where the FDA stands?
That was his big promise. Then he left within the month.
Right.
You know, he started focusing. Yeah, we're gonna make some changes here. We're gonna go after CBD. We're gonna make some rules on that. We're gonna go after these companies. But then he disappeared. So it's still in the middle. Nobody knows where it's going right now.
Are you worried at all?
No.
So let's talk about your 2019.
Okay.
It was fun. First half. You're busy every week, every Friday or Thursday. I was posting something about NutraBio, whether it was a new flavor, new products, whatever. You guys came out with a bunch of cool new products. You came out with KSM 66 ashwagandha. You came out with an alpha GPC, two very important, really good ingredients, and then your flavors, which is what you spent your last year on. Now the first half is done.
Right.
You can breathe. What's up for the second half?
Well, I think the first half we launched average of more than one product a week. So
Sure.
every Friday we introduced the products, and we didn't plan. It wasn't a marketing thing. After the first month or so, everybody started to say, "What are you guys doing? Every Friday you're launching a product." So we said, "Yep." For the first 6 months, just because we all had that, we spent 2018 really focusing on all this. Flavor was not my important thing years ago. I just wanted the purity of the product. I didn't flavor most of my products in the beginning. But we realized that the consumer wants something that tastes good. If they're going to take my protein every day, it better taste good. And there's companies out there just killing it with flavor. So we decided we had to make some changes for consumer demand. We wanted the product to taste good because, nothing pisses me off more than I see somebody with a product in their hand, they're reviewing it. The product is shit. And there's nothing in it, or the protein is garbage, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's the best tasting flavor in the world," and they're talking great about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, and the person's just taking this product based on flavor alone. When I got this product, or other people have these products that are insane, and they're just dismissing them. So we played the game. We said, we're going to reflavor everything. And I think we came out with some of, if not a few, of the best flavors in the industry. Our breakfast launch, which was cinnamon, donut, and maple pancake syrup, and blueberry, which just killed it.
Yep, very good. Massive upgrades.
What's that?
They're upgrades for sure.
Our bourbon banana nut, I think, is one of the best tasting products on the market. And then we just did our whole pre-extreme, reload, BCAA, EAA, just all of those. We reflavored everything.
And you had flavors to your natural line, which I thought was big, because that was one area in which you only had like 1 or 2 flavors, or it was unflavored. So,
and we're not done with any of that. I mean, we're not going to be releasing it weekly now, but I think the second half of the year is different. There'll still be more flavors. We have 3 more flavors already planned that we put together last year that are going to be industry first type things that are going to be insane, like we've been doing this year. But the second half of the year is going to be more like we're doing a powdered thermogenic, that we hope is going to be kind of revolutionary to the industry. We're doing a pump product. We're doing a powdered pre-workout. We're doing a nootropic. We're out of that. We were the first in nootropics in the sports supplement industry back in 96, 97. And then we got out of it, and I think it's an important part of a daily regimen. So we'll be releasing that. So the second half, we're going to continue on with flavor enhancements, like our base pre-intro reload is done, so they'll get 1 or 2 more this year flavors. Our WPI, which is our biggest seller, has been switched around. The classic way hasn't. We've only introduced 1 or 2.
Delicious.
So that's going to go through the whole cycle. Muscle Matrix just got 1 more. That's going to get a couple more flavors. So we're going to build on what we've been doing, but the new innovative product launches are what's going to happen second.
Cool.
Second half, like what's coming up this week, Upload. I don't know if you've seen this one yet.
No, I've seen it on your guys' desk, but I wasn't sure what it was. So.
Well, I don't know when this is going to air, but this is coming out this week.
It'll be out there by that point.
Upload is a standalone estrogen bioperant product.
Okay.
So we started adding estrogen, really believing, looked at all the research. There's a boatload of research, and they're continuing on with that research now, showing that it enhances absorption of many ingredients like amino acids up to 67%. Right. Curcumin increases, fish oil increases. So you're taking supplements that you're already taking by adding this and adding bioperant. You can increase the absorption. You can double the effectiveness of it.
You're saving companies money, by the way, and by doing this, because now they're just like, hey, I don't have to use it anymore. Mark can just sell a bottle of this.
What was cool is when we first started using it in some of our products, it wasn't in premium bioperant, but we took it out. because we realized there was no study that it increased the things that were in there. But we thought it was more of an acute. You took it with that particular ingredient and it increased absorption at that time. But I was working with the owner, the president of the company, and we spent a lot of hours discussing the mechanics behind it and realized, no, that's not the way it works. Once it's in the body, it's going to increase absorption of all of these ingredients you're taking.
Yeah.
So we started seeing how often it had to be taken, how much you had to take, and we came up with a 2 a day. You take 1 in the morning, 1 at night. It has bioperin in there, and has estrogen in there, 50 milligrams. And so now you can take it just like you take a daily vitamin.
Yeah.
And throughout the day, it's going to be enhancing all the pre-workout, all the post-workout, all the BCAAs, all those ingredients throughout the entire day. So we're really excited. I think it's the first on the market to do that.
Cool.
So this is one of the most exciting products that we're launching so far this year. Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, Mark. Come back, talk a little bit more about 2019, and then talk about what's going on behind me through some walls, which is very exciting stuff for NutraBio in terms of a new manufacturing facility. Essentially, basically, I mean, it's the same building, but it's completely different.
Same shell, yeah.
Same side. So we'll be right back after this.
So this is it. The new flavor is in production as we speak. We've been hyped about this for months and the time is finally here. So let's go check it out. In here. This is it. Galaxy Burst. This flavor has a burst of candy with a hint of tart, leaving your taste buds begging for more. It's fruity and creamy, yet sweet and tangy. After months of testing and formulation, this galactic flavor is sure to take over the galaxy. Now let's give it a try. So good.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, time to go.
All right, so like we were talking about this product, which will be out by the time this comes, which is Absorb, which is really cool. You mentioned earlier on the first half of the show that you're coming out with a standalone pre and a standalone pump. Like, is that 2019, 2020?
2019.
Okay.
So you can expect a nootropic coming out from us, probably a capsule and a powdered nootropic, powdered vitamin we're working on right now. Digestive enzymes we're working on, pre-pump, separate, like you were saying before. So you can build one on the other.
Right.
A lot of kind of really cool products using newer ingredients that are out that we think are effective and efficient.
The nootropic's interesting because I believe that like that mind-muscle connection, or that is becoming a bigger thing now. You see in the RTD market, you have energy drinks, but now you're having these drinks come out that are sort of like nootropic infused coffee, nootropic infused drinks using things, great ingredients like lion's mane or alpha GPC. My favorite launch of yours in 2019 was alpha EAA. I thought it was great. I thought it was an awesome. It's something you're going to drink daily. I mean, for me, I drink it quite often. How happy are you with that product?
Oh, great product.
Yeah.
I mean, we came up with that product, decided not to put caffeine into that product. You know, nootropic doesn't, everybody's putting caffeine in everything. It's just, you're taking it in everything you do. I even see intra-workouts with caffeine now, I mean, it's like stick it in whatever. So we thought, let's make this an EAA product, heavy BCAA EAA product, but let's make it something that you can sip throughout the day. People don't want more caffeine, or if you do, you have your coffee, but let's put good nootropics in here. And alpha GPC was just, what we started with. And that product is just going viral. I mean, it's probably one of our better selling products.
It's a great ingredient.
now. and we did some great flavors with it. So that's what I'm drinking right now. So you just drink it a couple times a day, you sip it throughout the day, you're getting 2 doses of alpha GPC, you're getting BCAAs, EAAs, hydration through it. It's just a terrific product.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
In terms of like, are there any interesting nootropic ingredients that you're looking at that we might not know much about yet?
Well, the issue we're having with nootropic, not the issue, the reason we're being slow on it is because, you know, the whole concept of what a lot of people do when they formulate is just kitchen sink. You know, throw everything in there.
Yeah.
You know, you do a pre-workout, throw everything. You do a nitric oxide, like when our new NO product, our pump product comes out, we're looking at different pathways. So we're not just throwing 10 ingredients in that do the same thing and are not going to have effectiveness. That's our challenge right now, is to see how we can put a nootropic together, because the difference between a nootropic and any of these other products is, all right, you don't even notice if you pre-workout if something's conflicting with something else. So you don't train as hard, but nootropic, it messes with your brain. I want somebody to take a nootropic and actually feel it.
Right.
You know, if you put in too many into one, you don't know the effects. So that's what we're doing. We're trying one against the other. And we're not going to say what we're putting out yet, but I think it's going to be pretty cool.
I'm excited for it. I'm a big nootropic guy. And I got to ask you a question. You're a biker.
Yeah.
You like to ride bike quite a bit and a lot. We were talking about before we came on here, you just had a trip out to Colorado with your buddies. We're in a small town, Middlesex. We're right across the road from a guy who like builds Harleys or like makes Harleys.
Right.
Has he not offered to build you one yet? What's going on here?
Oh, he has all my bikes over there.
All of them?
Yeah.
Do you have a Harley?
I have a Harley Street Glide.
Do you? Okay, I didn't think you
2
had a
custom
Harley.
choppers that are sitting across the street in his shop right now.
So how many bikes do you have?
5.
Do they all get driven?
Well, yeah, because I use my Street Glide as a regular bike running around. The BMW is more of an off-road, on-road adventure. It's called adventure biking.
Okay.
So that we take, you know, out into the desert, but we're going off-road. So we're, you know, it's made to be on the highway to get someplace and then take it off and just start hill climbing and going crazy. So that bike's used totally different. That's on the West Coast for going out there. And no, I don't use my choppers that much anymore because I'm doing more long distance. So they're more like bar hoppers.
Yeah.
They were really cool a few years ago, custom paint jobs and all that, but not using those.
When did you get into it?
I've been riding my whole life.
When you were a kid too?
Yeah, dirt bikes. My first bike was a RMZ 80 Suzuki.
So you're out there off-roading with this BMW. You're 50, what, 56?
56.
You don't look 56.
No.
I mean, when you're out there, would you feel like you're 30?
Yeah,
Until the next day?
No, I feel like I'm 25 years old all the time.
What do you say? Age is just a number? Is that kind of
Yeah, I mean, I literally feel like a kid all day long.
Yeah.
When whatever sport I'm doing. I mean, I get sore training like everybody else does, but I don't get sore because of my age. I get sore because I'm nailing it at the gym.
Right.
I get off a bike for 8 hours a day. I'm not like feeling like an 80-year-old man. Oh, my back. And I don't feel anything from it. You know, it's because a lifetime of fitness. I've been doing this since I was a little kid.
Right.
You know, and I've been doing it, I think, the right way.
Do you miss your karate days?
Yeah.
What do you miss most about it? Because people listening, like, you might not know, like, this dude was on magazine covers for your accomplishments in karate, and I don't think a lot of people know that unless they're friends with you personally, like on Facebook or something, because you don't. NutraBio doesn't talk about it.
No.
But I think it's very, like, you could kick somebody's head off, like this bottle cap challenge that's going around. Like, you probably.
I just saw that the other day. That was really cool. I've been dying to try that.
Like, you probably could do that, but like, what do you miss about it the most?
I miss training with the students, and getting out there in the classroom. I still train 3 or 4 days a week.
You do,
mostly bag work and solo type of stuff. You know, I love to get out in the classroom. I love to teach. I love to spar. I mean, I just love to be out there kicking. So yeah, I'm missing that more and more now. Well, I've never given up. I mean, I literally have trained at least 3 times a day, every single week, you know, since I was a kid.
Have you ever been in a real fight?
Possibly.
Can you tell us the first time?
No. Okay.
You can't go back to that? This is the type of stuff that people don't ask, and I just feel like you're a badass in terms of like karate. Obviously, you're fit. I'm assuming you won.
Yeah.
When you're here.
I'm here.
All right. Tell me about what's going on behind me. Right now it's empty, but next week, by the time this comes out, it's going to be going on. But you guys dumped in a ton of money. And that's not even like the most important thing. The most important thing is you're improving your processes, although you didn't have to set you up for success for the next 10 years for the consumer. So if you follow us on Instagram, we post some of this stuff. We're going to try to post some of this stuff overlay on top of this video too, if we have some footage that we can show people about what's going on behind us in your upgraded like 2030 manufacturing facility that you guys put a bunch of money into.
Yeah, well, we just had an FDA audit. It was the toughest we ever had. 3 week audit. which was crazy. I mean, the stuff they looked at was insane. I mean, this auditor, I really never met when she took our logs for, just like our sanitation logs for the room and machines, and she took a full year's worth. And she didn't glance through pages. She calculated every single line, every single day, how many minutes it took to clean this machine for the entire year. And if one machine was averaging out at 15 minutes, and all of a sudden there was one for cleaning for 7 minutes, she flagged it and we had to explain it. It was, and she did that in our MMRs, our BPR, our testing results, and everything. I've just never seen anything like it.
It feels like she came looking for something. Like
no, she was. The FDA has to tell you.
Right.
You can ask the FDA when they walk in for an audit, was this from a complaint or is this just a regular audit? And they have to tell you what it is. Yeah, so we know that it wasn't somebody complaining and then looking for something. She was just tough. But the auditors are getting better and better. Our first audit years ago were pharmaceutical auditors on the CFR 211. They didn't really know what to look for, what to do. They came in, they asked a few questions. They were here 2 or 3 days or whatever. But they've been getting much tougher because they're now, the auditor understands the industry and understands. You know, sometimes they came in, they wouldn't even ask about identity testing or they'd leave some important things out. It wasn't even on their mind. Now they have a checklist, at least for us. And it was an intense audit. So when they left, about 30 days later, we started this and everybody's questioning, NutraBio got in some trouble. No, we had no warning letters, not one observance. A 483 is an observance they give you.
Sure.
So they'll give you a form, it'll have an observance or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever. And there's nothing, they're not bad. So, you know, if they just found something that they want you to fix and you got 60 days, you fix it, you send your, what you've done to them and they either okay it or they don't okay it. We didn't even, after 3 weeks of that kind of intense, we didn't get 143, one observance in that whole thing, which just was great. I took everybody, because when they're here auditing, it's crazy. Like they'll ask for a form and I'll be screaming to, where is it? And everybody's jumping and going crazy to try and get everything together. So they were scared to death, my team, the whole 3 weeks. So we put them all in a room out there and I had 483 forms with me. And I was looking like I was pissed as hell, and they're all there and they're all scared to death because they're like, you lose a form, you can't find something during the week, everybody's under pressure. And I pass out these 483 forms and I'm mad as hell about the 483s, and they're looking at them and somebody goes, these are blank, I think you have the wrong ones. And I'm just looking, they weren't realizing, it was great, and it was just, I just like fell to my knees, I smashed my knees, I put my arms up and I'm like, that's it guys. I didn't mess up. That's our 483. We got long process. It's all the pride that they have, because I sit here all day and I walk around, but they're the ones, I think around 80 employees. They've got to follow every one of these procedures, and they could cheat on the side, and somebody else can cover for them. But I'll tell you what, when these FDA audits come, they're not looking for a cursory stuff that you can see. They walk through the facility, they might see some, but when they hit that paperwork, they're checking everything, every single number. It's crazy. So you can't hide that stuff. You might be able to see them walk in the door one day and yell in the back, clean up, sweep, and they walk in and it's neat. But you can't go back and change your paperwork. Right. And I just take so much pride in this group of people, man, because they're the ones who make this happen. Right. They're the ones who make this product the way it is today, and they're the ones who keep, these are, I don't know if you can see over there. Can you see in the camera?
I don't know, maybe, probably not, no.
All right, so those are all the SOP booklets we were talking about. There's hundreds of operating procedures that these people have to be trained on, and you mess up one thing and it messes up down the line. So, we had to come public with that. We had to say, no, we got no observances. We got no 43s. Right. We're not redoing this facility because the FDA was here. We're not doing it out of desperation. We're doing it out of inspiration. And it really was, because we have this thing called BioCrew. It's been out for a while. Ben was here. He changed the name, but he really got it going. You got to give him all the thanks for doing that. And it's just a few thousand people that use our product, that don't use our product. You're in there, Drew, everybody's in there, and they're just helping each other, and they're talking to each other. Sometimes I can't even get an answer out because by the time somebody asks a question, 5 other people have helped them out. And it's just the most amazing thing that I've seen in years, and I just love it. So I just read these things every day, and I see that the confidence they have in what we do here. And it's a risk to take these products, not a risk as far as dangerous or anything, but you're putting your money out there. And I just read what these people say about me, about a product, about everything. I'm like, holy shit, we got to take this to the next level. And that's kind of what inspired me like 6-8 months ago to say, okay, we're doing it. So when the FDA came in, we'd already scheduled to do this. So we've been shut down for 3 weeks. We basically took this place down to a shell. And we're bringing it up to what I would consider almost, pharmaceutical grade. We're not going to get a pharmaceutical license. We're a dietary supplement company. but we're taking it to the next level here, and we didn't have to do that. I mean, we already had full GMP facility here, but what we're doing now, it's just, I think, taking it. It's not to increase proficiency or how much we can produce; it's to increase quality of the product, and I'm kind of proud of that.
How do you feel about the third-party certification programs that are out there, like Banned Substance Free, BSG, and then they have like certified sports? And I mean, you pay for these licensing fees for people out there. Like, you still have to pay to be part of it. That's how they make money and stuff. Like, I mean, you guys don't use those. You guys have, you know, you're an FDA facility, out of the facility, like you pass that. It's GMP. Those are types of things that you put on your products. Like, is it important? Do you think? Is it something you're going to look into?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we can't do a lot of the banned sports things because they're testing batch by batch, and we're a small batch company. So to spend thousands of dollars on one batch, when you make, the way we do our proteins is we make them practically weekly, every 2 weeks max. We do small batches because we want the product as fresh as we can do. But we do something different that nobody else is doing in the industry at all right now, is that's testing every single product through third-party tests. So before we release it here, we test it here, but we do qualitative testing in-house. If it passes that, it goes out for third-party quantitative testing, HPLC, whatever, to make sure that product is what it's supposed to be. So it's not Trustmark Glazier. You can verify what products I put out there. But I think we're looking at UL and some of those to put another certification program on there. They're kind of okay. I never saw the importance of it. It's kind of a marketing thing. The FDA does not recognize any of that. As a matter of fact, when they come in for an audit, if you have that in your book, they will not even allowed to look at any of that stuff. But I think, you know, NSF and all this stuff is kind of cool. So
you guys have checkmysubs.com, which is better than all these. I mean, in my opinion, just because like this is telling you there's no certification program on the planet that says this is efficaciously dosed, because I mean, you could argue that all day. But if you know, like, you know, 3 to 5 grams of citrulline or 6 grams of citrulline is what you want, you go to Check My Subs, you look at that product, you find that you have, you know, 6.01 grams or whatever. That's validation. And we've talked about this at the Arnold this last year when we actually saw you there, and you were happy with the traffic to that site. I haven't seen you guys push it a lot lately. Is that something in the back half of the year that kind of bring them back to the farm? And keep in mind, like, you're very lean staff too here. So I mean, you guys probably could hire 50 people. You know, I mean, at the same time. So Check My Subs, I think, is great. Or is it something that maybe most consumers still just aren't to the point where they understand what they're doing?
We're not a marketing company. We're like backwards. Manufacturing product company. So we're trying to get more marketing in, but that's not our forte. Our forte is making a product, making it clean, making it good, and let people talk about it. So yeah, we've had Check My Subs out. It's there, you can see it, but we're not pushing it like crazy just because, you know, we're not that marketing machine out there. I think that's the only reason why. If people go to that site, or it's right on our regular website too, you can see it right on the page of the product. I think it just builds up another level, you know, with the consumer. And, you know, we're talking about some of these certifications in GMP, but GMP is only part of it. I mean, GMP means that you're manufacturing the product the way it should be manufactured. If it's done to full GMP spec, what's on the label is going to be in the bottle, and it's not going to be contaminated. It's going to be done the right way, so you should have confidence in what's in that bottle. But now you have an issue of, well, what the fuck's the formula? If the formula sucks, like you said a moment ago, nobody tells you what the efficacious dose is. FDA doesn't care about it. They're not coming and say that. So you might have a product that's GMP and made to exact specifications, made pure, everything is done perfectly in there, but the formulation is garbage. So, you know, you have both sides of that. And here you have a formulation that's great, and a company's really enthusiastic about putting a good product out to the market, but they said it to some manufacturer who doesn't know what the hell they're doing, doesn't follow GMP, so they're out there to make a really good product with good, efficacious formulation, but the product is made to garbage in the facility. So you got to have both a great formula, and you have to have GMP. So when you see that GMP logo with our NSF logo or any of those logos, or a company tells you, oh yeah, we're just past FDA audit, that's great. That means the product is manufactured properly. But it doesn't mean the product's any good. You still have to have that formula behind it that is a good formula, because it's one, you know, a good manufactured bottle with a crap formulation is just still a bottle of crap. Either way, one without the other.
Regardless of NSF, GMP, it's still, like you said, a bottle of crap.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a double-edged sword, because people see another certification on there, or hear me talking about, oh yeah, we didn't get any 43s, but they get too much confidence in that I could still have a crap formula. We don't, obviously. You know, we're trying to make the greatest formulas. But the consumer's got to be careful, because the more things that they hear about sometimes, get some overconfidence in the product.
You take inspiration from any other brands in this space?
Yeah, there's a lot of good brands out
Which
there.
one's kind of like, if you weren't going to take NutraBio, like which brands stand out to you as something you would get inspiration?
Well, I was at bodybuilding.com's show this year, and we gave out every freaking sample we had. I had no pre-workout at all.
Okay.
So we were going to the gym. I had nothing. So I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to Chris Gethin's booth and get his, because I think he has a great product line out there. I got to their booth, they didn't have anything at all.
Okay.
I always said, you know what, because people ask me that question, I said, probably caged. So I went over, they had nothing, but then one of the sales guys dug out a packet that he'd already partially opened from his gym bag, and I took it. And I trained on it. It was a great product. But there's a lot of man makes some good products. I like the way they, have disclosure on their proteins. To me, that's really big. I think that's part of the, a lot of pre-workouts, post-workouts, BCAEAs always had, from the beginning had everything listed on, but proteins are still a big, crazy ripoff in this industry. Not many companies are really putting what's in there, but so there's not a lot of disclosure in protein powders. Now there's 7 or 8 brands out there, like Ghost does it.
Right.
I think that's great. I like Inspired's products that are coming out. I think he's doing a great job. So it's cool. There's a lot of good products on the marketplace now, and there's like this, I think it's a new generation of people. Some of them have been from other companies, been around a long time, and are putting out their own product line, but they really love what they're doing and go after and giving a good product to the consumer.
I want to talk about Ghost just for a second, because they've done something too that's unique in terms of full transparencies. They're actually putting more like yields now. They came out recently with a pre-workout that had betaine nitrate, and what they did is they actually put the yield of betaine and the yield of the actual nitrate in it, which is something that we had not seen before. And they've done the same thing with their creatine too. Like their creatine monohydrate yields this amount of creatine and hydrose. Should the industry go to that extreme?
Why not? The more disclosure you can, the better.
Is that something, because you guys fully disclose everything in terms of your protein. You can tell, like, 28.12 grams of whey protein yielding 25 grams of protein. Are there any certain ingredients in your current lab right now that you probably could go a step further and do that too, that you, off the top of your head?
Well, if you take something like creatine, it's standard.
Right.
If you know the formula, you can't change it. It's a chemical. But I think we kind of disclose it all. Like when we do dicaffeine malate, we're telling you how much. We do alpha GPC. That's a weird one because everybody puts alpha GPC 300 milligrams, but alpha GPC yields alpha GPC.
Right.
The name of the product and the name of the active are different, but alpha GPC is only 50% alpha GPC.
Right.
It's one of those weird ones that doesn't have 2 names.
And you can't tell as a consumer sometimes, are they listening to the yield or are they listening to the actual?
Right.
Most
the name of the product and the name of the active is the same, which is not normal.
Right.
So.
And we've seen that with huperzine too. It's some of that stuff is kind of unique.
Right. I mean, we can always disclose more. We're always looking to disclose more and more and more. I mean, I think we do everything out there. But you can't. If somebody else is doing some more disclosure, that's great. I mean, that's what the industry needs.
How long you be in this facility for before you outgrow it?
A couple of years, 3 years maybe.
It's been insane, like your growth. You mentioned like you started back in '96, but probably the last 5-6 years has really been exponentially just on an upward climb.
Yeah, I think it started before what you were talking about. This was fun. We were always direct to consumer. So for 23 years, the first 18, we were direct to consumer. So we did our own thing. We weren't really out there in the industry. We weren't advertising, we were marketing. It was really old school word of mouth. It wasn't even internet word of mouth or social media.
Catalogs too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I still do it. We started off as a catalog company.
Yeah, I remember I got a package from you guys and a catalog. I said, what is this?
Yeah.
This thing exists.
We thought it was cool technology.
Yeah.
The consumer could call in our phone line.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, and they could hit buttons on the phone to order products like this SKU number 1, 2, 3. And I was like, that's cool. Now they can order when we're not here. I mean, everything has changed. But we were direct to consumer all these years. And then we launched and decided when everybody started to coming in with no prop blends, we realized the industry hadn't made that change. So we popped out there and we started to go to a lot of the trade shows like Europa's, and then all of a sudden we appeared at Europa and everybody's like, who is this company? So that was really the time where everything started to really hit, because a lot of companies didn't. Everybody thought, our bottles, like you said earlier, thought we were a copy of Muscle Farm because we had green and black, but that was our logo and our colors from 1996 on. And then people said, oh, you're another new no prop blend company now. We're the first no prop blend. And then people started to question us, and then people started to realize the history of us. And that's kind of what started the whole thing before that videotape came out. That was like the big changeover. And from then on, it just exploded.
What's scary, and it's not scary, it's good, but like, you guys really haven't hit your full potential yet. I mean,
everything we do is is not for fast growth, it's for strong growth.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be the fastest growing company and then die in 3 years from now. You know, we started going on internet sites. We have to be very careful where we go. We don't want people destroying our product. And you know, if you lose, it's you know, bad to say, but if you lose control of the price of your product, you lose control of the quality of your product.
Right.
If you can't control what everybody calls MAP, minimum advertised price, and you have all these websites selling your protein for 5% over margin like they do on Amazon, and consumers start to get used to paying that, then everybody else wants their margin. You have to start devaluing your product.
Right.
You have to change the proteins in there, put more WPC in there, and we won't do that.
Right.
So it's always a fight. Our growth is to do it slowly, but do it strongly, control the price out there so the consumer's paying the same price everywhere. So you know, some people look like, oh, you're just trying to make money, you don't want it on sale. No, it's not that. I want to keep the quality. If I do buy one, get one, buy one, get one, buy two, get one, and my $40 product is selling for $30, so that's all the consumer is going to pay for it. Now my $30 product is not a $40 product. I have to manufacture it differently. So that's, you know, it's one of the things that you got to watch out for out there. And so our growth is slow, steady. We're not trying to, you know, go crazy.
It's been a great year in 2019.
Yeah.
When I walk into this place, the first thing I see is the 2017 Brand of the Year award that you have up in the lobby.
First thing we hung.
The 2019 award is going to be epic. It's going to be amazing, and you guys are definitely in the conversation for that based on the first half and what you have for the second half. So I think I speak for everybody that loves this brand. We're stoked about what you're coming out with in the future, but we appreciate everything you've already done in 2019 and like just wish you the best of success going forward, because brands like yours are what I create Fitness Informant for in the first place. Like, this is what I want people to know. This is a brand you can trust in with your money. Like, you work hard for your money, your supplements should work hard for you. I say it all the time. Like, NutraBio is a brand that can do that. So, from everybody and myself, buddy, I appreciate it. And I love the tour here. I'm excited for the rest of the day, and you guys are going to see the rest of the day. But we're going to have some fun. So.
Eddie's going to come back because when he shows you all the videos and I'm explaining what we do here, every room was empty.
Yeah.
So we went room to room, process to process, but there was nothing in there. So you're going to come back in 4 weeks or so.
We'll get it done.
When the facility's back up and operational.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everything you're doing, man.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
You're helping change the industry.
You're changing the industry.
Cool, man.
All right, everybody, that is the OG, Mr. One and Only Mark Glazier, CEO of one of my favorite brands in the world, NutraBio Labs. I love talking with Mark, and I'm stoked to go back out there here on Friday to speak with Mark again and to see the facility and to hang out for the Bio Crew event that they're going to have, that everybody that is part of the NutraBio fam is welcome to come out and enjoy that. They're doing like a barbecue. There's going to be a mechanical bull. It's going to be a tour of the manufacturing facility. I'm going to lift with Mark again on Monday morning. This time he's putting me through the ringer, and then obviously we're going to take our traditional dive into the Atlantic Ocean. So I'm stoked about that. So a lot of cool stuff from NutraBio here in the first half of the year. A lot of cool stuff coming out here in the second half of the year, including ethics, which we talked about at fitnessinformant.com. And, just keep your eye on this brand. They are a very well-known brand now. They're a very high-quality brand, and they deserve the recognition to be in the conversation for Brand of the Year, specifically this year, because they won it in 2017, and now that we have a WWE-style championship belt as our Brand of the Year award, I believe Mark would love to wear that around the HQ there in Middlesex, New Jersey. So if you liked what you heard today, again, hit that subscribe button there on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. Write us a review to help out the algorithm. Follow us on all of our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Appreciate you all tuning in. Next week, John Meadows. That's right, John Meadows on the Be Informed Live Fit podcast, one of the most well-respected individuals, personalities, human beings in the world of fitness and nutrition. John joins me, and we talk about it all, from anything from his days in bodybuilding to coaching clients to Granite supplements. So that comes up next week right here at the Be Informed Live Fit podcast. Y'all, hang loose, take care, be informed, and live fit.